I guess we'll call this meeting to order. Mr. Hudson, if you will lead us in the invocation, please.
As is your custom, please bow with me in prayer. Father God, we come to you this evening and we thank you for the blessings that you've given our community. We thank you for this wonderful season, dear Lord, in which we are mindful of others. Lord, we ask you to please bless those less fortunate than us and help us use the gifts that you've given us wisely. Lord, we ask you please bless those who are sick, unable to be with us this evening. Help them to recover quickly. In all these things, we will be careful to give you the praise, honor, and the glory. In Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Mm-hmm. Mr. Foster, if you will lead us in the invocation.
Yes, sir.
Pledge. I'm sorry.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to ask that all turn off cell phones to off or vibrate, and any individuals making presentations or public comments are asked to adjust the microphones as necessary and speak directly into the microphones. This meeting is being recorded. Number one, we have a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor? Moving on to approval of the consent agenda. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion is approved and seconded to approve the consent agenda. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. We got that was all consent agenda items. Oh, here we go.
Mm-hmm.
So business, should we welcome should I take the time to welcome Mr. Wenzel to the board? Or, I mean, guys, I'm winging it.
You're doing a good job.
So I apologize. But, Mr. Wenzel, you're our, newest member from Holly Ridge. So, welcome aboard. Sorry to see Mr. Hines go. He's been here every day I've been here. So you got some shoes to fill, man. Be honest with you.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you.
So, we're looking forward to working with you. So moving on to item number 3, new business. Annual comprehensive financial report, fiscal year 2020-2021. Presenting Robert Bittner, 3 CPA and partner PB mayors.
Thank you, Mr. Connor. Not any longer, so I'm going to try to speak up as much as I can. Good evening. Thank you for having me here tonight. And on behalf of myself, on behalf of PB Mayors, I'd like to thank you for allowing us to serve the ONWASA. We really do appreciate it. And we do enjoy our time with the team. I want to say a quick thank you to Mr. Hudson, Ms. Riggs, and their team. Without their diligent work, we could not do what we want to do or what we need to do in order to get the audit complete in a timely manner. So I'm going to start off and try to be fairly quick. If there are any questions, please stop me while I'm speaking and be glad to answer at that point in time. With that, this year was probably one of the smoothest we've had from an audit perspective in the past 5 years. There were no issues that we really came upon. Fund balance and net position are going up. You're in compliance with all your debt covenants, and the debt market looks good for moving forward with some of your projects. So from an overall perspective, really is a positive outlook. But now I'm going to speak specifically to the annual comprehensive financial report that you should have received a copy of. As auditors, we're charged with rendering an opinion as to whether or not your financial statements are fairly presented in accordance with the generally accepted accounting principles, or GAAP. We can issue 4 different types of opinions. We can issue an adverse opinion. This means that your financial statements are not fairly presented in accordance with GAAP. We can disclaim an opinion, which means that we did not see enough information during the course of our audit to render an opinion one way or the other. We can issue a modified or qualified opinion, which is really a but-for opinion, where we believe that your financial statements are fairly presented in accordance with the GAAP, except for one or two parts. And the highest level of assurance that we can provide as external auditors is an unmodified or clean opinion, and the authority did receive a clean opinion from us this year. So, in addition to our opinion on the financial statements, government auditing standards require that we issue a report on compliance with laws, regulations, grants, contracts, as well as identifying any significant deficiencies or material weaknesses in internal control. During the course of our audit, I'm happy to say that we did not identify any instances of noncompliance, and we have no instances where there are significant deficiencies or material weaknesses in internal control to identify in that report. And that is the last 2 pages of your report here. We did not, due to the not having meeting the requirements for needing a uniform guidance or a single audit in accordance with the state Single Audit Implementation Act, we did not have that this year for the authority. So with that, I'll move on to this other letter. This is what we call, it's a report to the Board of Directors, is what we call our AUC 260, or Auditor's Communication to those charged with governance. This is required communications by audit standard that will allow those charged with governance to see sort of a little bit more detail about what it is that we look at through the course of our audit and some of the results of the audit from there. I'm not going to read through all of these items, but I do want to hit a few of note. We did not have any disagreements with management. Adoption or change in accounting principle, as some of you may know, GASB statement number 84 was effective for this current year related to fiduciary activities. Because ONWASA doesn't have any fiduciary activities, it really had no effect on the financial statement. So in your towns and cities, you might see that later on, but it did not happen here. With that as well, we did not have any uncorrected misstatements that we are aware of in the financial statements, and there were no audit adjustments this year. If you move to the fifth page of the report, you'll come across the significant accounting estimates that are included in the financial statements, and how management determined those, and then also the results of our procedures around those and where we believe that they are reasonable and fairly presented in accordance with GAAP. Also included here is the representation letter, where management represents everything that they've provided to us is fair and accurate. And then the last piece is a new item in here. So Exhibit B, as the Local Government Commission calls it, is performance indicators of concern. When your audits are finished, required to be submitted to the LGC with the audit report is what's called the data input form. This form has been required in the past. However, this year they included another tab on this report that would automatically kick out items that they considered to be of concern in accordance with what their standards are from a local government commission. The rule here was that if a unit of government had any type of performance indicator of concern that popped up, that the board or council or commissioners would be required to provide a letter from the board to the LGC for anything that they would have on there and how they were going to rectify the situation. I can't say too much for all of the wording and different things on here. This is literally a verbatim printout that comes from the data input form. But if you look under the unit results column there, if it's highlighted red, you have a problem. Otherwise, everything is good to go. So happy to say there were no performance indicators of concern for ONWASA this year, but just wanted to kind of give you a little background on that. With that, that concludes the presentation on the financial statements, unless anybody has any specific questions related to it.
Any questions for Mr. Bittner? Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
We have a motion to accept the annual comprehensive financial report.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So we'll move on to construction contract time extension request. Mr. David Moore.
Sir, thank you. Directors, construction is currently underway on 2 separate capital improvement projects at the ONWASA main office complex. Actually, there's 3 going on at the same time, and it's kind of a circus, but that's another story. The 2 projects we're talking about tonight are replacement of the existing roof on the administration building and an addition to the main building for a new water chemistry laboratory. While substantial progress has been made on each project, the original completion schedules for both have been adversely impacted by the industry-wide lack of availability for certain construction materials, extremely long lead times for ordered items, and indefinite delivery dates for certain prefabricated components. I listed an example in the agenda. Due to delays in obtaining critical materials, insulation, and adhesives, the roof replacement project actually had a prior 58-day extension, and that wasn't even enough to get the materials in. They were actually delivered past that time. Based on the current level of completion, the contractor's best estimates for the duration of the remaining work, and input from the consulting architect that's managing both projects, they've recommended time extensions of 109 days for the roof project and 72 days for the laboratory. And there is no increase in contract costs. It's strictly just time. I would also offer that I will be coming back to the board in January for the project at Northwest. We're still working with the contractor on impacts to schedule and budget, and it wasn't ready for this meeting. The action requested this evening is consider a motion to proceed with amending the construction contracts with actually it's 2 listed firms, there's a typo here, and authorize the chief executive officer to execute appropriate change orders and any additional documents as required in connection with this action. I'd be happy to answer questions. I believe the full documentation that came with each change order was included in the agenda.
Moore, we spoke earlier when I came in, and it's insane, the lead times on this stuff. So I won't be surprised if we have this conversation again.
Motion to proceed is requested.
Motion has been made and seconded to proceed, to accept, well, anyway, to proceed. All those in favor? Aye. Mr. Moore, you can
Thank you.
stay right there and go over capital projects with us if you want to.
All right. Let's see what happens here. There we go. Let's see if this works. All right. New presentation.
I got you.
Okay.
Here.
You got, okay. That one doesn't see, that one works? What's my
Right
forward?
side, please.
Right side? Okay, thank you. Sorry about that. Vice Chairman Connor, directors, as indicated in tonight's agenda, I'd like to take a few minutes to provide an update on several active capital improvement projects. This includes 3 projects currently under construction, 3 projects in some phase of the design process. Obviously not comprehensive in the entire CIP, but it's part of an effort to keep you appraised of progress on key projects in the capital improvement program. Let's see, maybe this, yes. The first project involves construction of repairs and hazard mitigation features at the Northwest Wastewater Treatment Facility. This location received significant flood damage during Hurricane Florence, as we've talked about in the past. The photograph I've included today shows the formwork for the foundation of a new elevated electrical controls building. And beside it, the large box there is the existing emergency generator. It's also been raised up. Both of these will be at an elevation to protect them from a 500-year flood event, and that's been the standard across everything we're doing out there. As I mentioned previously, while progress is being made on electrical system repairs, the schedule's been impacted by the same supply chain issues we talked about, and we're looking at a completion date that's extended, I think it says in here, to July of next year. The goal is to have everything done, buttoned up, and the facility ready for next hurricane season. And that's pretty much all I have on that one. They actually are getting ready to pour the slab that's the top of that elevated platform next week, and then they'll break for Christmas, so. The second project tonight's the new main office building addition that will house the water chemistry laboratory. The photograph shows the laboratory end of the addition, and yes, that's white brick, with a glass and aluminum walled sample reception and processing area. When the people taking the samples at the facilities come in, they'll enter in directly from the parking lot into that area. It's going to actually streamline the operation quite a bit. The addition also includes support offices, restrooms with showers, and a hardened IT server room. Despite some material availability issues and the schedule impacts, which we talked about in the previous item, the building is quickly reaching the point of being dried in, and the start of interior build out and finishes is anticipated fairly soon. We have a completion in April of 2022. We talked about the roof project. This is the other project going on right now, the parts and equipment warehouse. The new metal building will replace multiple indoor and outdoor storage areas at this location, includes an unconditioned storage area and conditioned space for the manager's office. There'll be a small computer room and restroom in here. Building is sized to contain the existing warehouse storage racks that will be reused. So we'll basically take the things out of our current warehouse and move them into this. At the present time, this project appears to be slightly ahead of its original completion date. Knowing that it was a metal building, when we went out to bid, we put a 1-year completion time on it just because we knew it would take a long time to get the building. The contractor was able to secure the materials and has made very good progress. As I mentioned, it's one of the 3 projects underway, and it's been challenging not only in keeping the contractors out of each other's way, but letting staff access the areas they need to and do the work they need to do. The final 3 projects I'd like to talk about are currently under design. First is the Highway 24 Utility Corridor project, including both a wastewater force main to connect the Swansboro collection system to the Piney Green Gate pump station at Camp Lejeune, as well as a new water transmission main from the Hubert Water Treatment Plant at the intersection of 172 and 24 to the Piney Green Booster Pumping Station. As noted in the slide, design work is currently 70% complete, and we met last week with Camp Lejeune personnel to discuss concerns over the proposed pipeline alignment, as well as environmental and real estate issues. As you can imagine, the majority of the line is going to be along Highway 24. It's on federal property, on base land. So there's a lot of compliance issues we have to work through. Right now, we're on tap to complete the design in spring of next year. That's heavily dependent on the basis completion of a National Environmental Policy Act study, NEPA study, which is about 50% done now. That's done by base personnel, not by us. And then we have to secure easements necessary for construction of the water main. The sewer main project is covered under our existing agreement with the base. The water main is a new line, and there'll need to be an easement along the entire length of it. So progress is being made, but as I say, we're working with the base and trying to make sure we cover everything they need. Also under design is the proposed new wastewater treatment plant to serve the southeast service area. The photograph I put up here is actually the portion of the Holly Ridge wastewater plant spray field disposal site, and it's the approximate location for the plant itself. On-site investigations to determine the location and potential capacity of infiltration basins, which will be used to dispose of the plant effluent, are now underway, actually sinking test wells and doing geotechnical work on that site. And a meeting with the design engineer was held last week to discuss plant treatment processes, the general configuration and location at the spray field site. We've also completed initial design and site investigations for the pumping stations and force mains to connect the Holly Ridge and Summerhouse collection systems to the new plant. Part of that work was done as we were investigating the potential connection to the base. So we're able to reuse that in this new scenario. The final project tonight I'd like to mention is the proposed booster pumping station to be constructed at Topsail Island. The rendering shown on this slide is been prepared by the engineer. It gives you a feel for the overall look of it. It's going to house a duplex pumping system and controls that would run during periods of high water demand. The goal is not to run it all the time, but to have monitors of the system, and when the pressure starts to drop, it would kick on and boost pressure on the island. The building, our proposed site is located adjacent to the North Topsail Town Hall so that it can draw water directly from the primary main serving the island. That's the one that goes under the intercoastal waterway next to the high-rise bridge, and send it north or south as conditions demand. That location is kind of a T in the system. We're currently preparing a package of information to submit to the town to request consideration of granting easements necessary for the building and the water mains needed to connect it to our existing system. I know it's kind of short and sweet, but just kind of give you a feel for where some of these more significant projects stand. I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have. Like I said, I covered it kind of fast, but.
I do have a couple.
Go right ahead, ma'am.
So, first of all, I wanted to make sure, I don't know how many folks have been to the ONWASA facility, but the completion of the laboratory is a big deal. I mean, currently, those folks are working in a trailer, from what I remember, so it's going to be a
It's
huge.
literally, yeah, they took the wheels off and made a lab out of it.
Yeah, so, I mean, that may not look very exciting on the screen, but it is a big deal that we're getting there and getting that done. I had a question about, you mentioned with the current warehouse that's almost done and repurposing some of the shelving and things out there. What are we doing with that existing warehouse space that we have now? Are we repurposing that for something else?
Yeah, there's, the final decision hasn't been made. Some of it will be turned into space for distribution collections. There's a need, there's some of it's conditioned and some of it's not. To be honest, we have an area out there where there's a whole bunch of old records piled up. We need to kind of sort through that and find a better way to make storage. Me being the engineer, I'm lobbying for drawing storage space, flat files. You know, you want to lay drawings out and they're in huge cabinets, and my assistant's got them all stacked in her office. So I'm kind of pulling for some of that. But yeah, we're intending to reuse it in a couple of different ways.
Okay. Summer house, are there any plans? We have talked a little bit on and off in these meetings about the current solutions that we have in summer house, and if any of them need to be upgraded or updated or anything like that. Is that you went through some of the Holly Ridge stuff a few minutes ago, so I was just wondering if summer house plays into that at all or not.
Summer house will have to be run until such time as the new facility's up
So
and
just stay as
operational.
is.
We are scheduled to put its, make sure I get this right, membrane bioreactor system. We do have new membranes in the budget for this spring, and they're due to be delivered, actually come, I'm not sure where from, but the components have just started coming in, so we will switch out. It won't increase the capacity, but it'll definitely increase the efficiency of the plant to process the waste material.
Okay.
I'm right about that, aren't I? Yeah, the membranes this
So
year.
it's just
yeah.
pretty much ongoing maintenance at summer house and improvements where needed to be able to
Correct.
continue? Okay.
Yeah, we received, last fall, we received permission from the state to use the second of the two infiltration basins in the summer house development to a limited extent. So that gave us a boost in the capacity of the wastewater we can dispose of.
Okay.
But yeah, we're basically going to, like I said, replace the membranes at summer house and continue to run it until such time as the new plant's available.
And-
I'm sorry. When we're done then with the new plant, we will build a pump station on the summer house site, and everything will come to that point and then be boosted up to the new plant.
Gotcha.
So it won't be a treatment plant anymore, but it'll be a collection point for both summer house and what comes from Holly Ridge.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, I thought that that was a component of the overall strategy. That's why I wanted to bring that up today.
Okay.
Appreciate that.
No problem. Thank you.
Well, Ms. Turner? Thank you for the presentation.
Thank you.
So moving right along, public comment.
Nobody's on.
Okay.
No, sir.
Well, that leaves you, Mr. Hudson.
Thank you. Thank you, Vice Chairman. 2 or 3 comments this evening. First of all, I would like to show appreciation to our finance officer, our CFO, Ms. Tiffany Riggs, and her staff. Our audit's on time. It was a good audit. And our change in net position went from 148 million to 157 million. People are, in fact, still addicted to water. So that is a good thing for our business. But really, we did have a good audit, and there's a lot of material to pull together, especially since we are still in the COVID times, and we've had staff interruptions throughout the year. So I appreciate the work of the finance team. I'd like to switch from finance to HR, just kind of a general overview kind of for the directors just a moment. And you've seen this in my weekly reports to the board. We are, I believe, industry-wide, not just on ONWASA, but the entire water industry. They're facing staffing shortages, and in fact, not just the water industry, but a lot of other industries are facing staffing shortages. So we have a particular need right now for customer service representatives, wastewater treatment plant operators, water plant operators, highly skilled positions. So when a lot of our positions are licensed by the state of North Carolina, these are not laborer positions, but rather highly qualified individuals that we need to recruit and retain. And we are having difficulties right now, and you need to be aware of that. We would encourage anyone that might be listening by television to go to onwasa.com, check out our job opportunities, and look at what we have. We at least have 10 vacancies right now, and that fluctuates week by week. We are in interviewing processes, and our HR department, which currently consists of one individual who is sitting behind me, is really working hard. We also have a vacancy in HR. So we are in fact really doing everything we can. I believe that if it gets worse, we will have to do such things as hiring incentives or hiring bonuses to try to recruit and retain other people. We are losing people not only because they might be moving away, but also because they're being hired by both the private sector and the federal government, and earning a much higher wage. And we don't blame anyone for making an improvement for their family, for their situation. I mean, obviously life happens. You have to make a living. And if they can go and do that, that's great. But plants don't run themselves. And it doesn't matter the wonderful buildings that we can have for a laboratory, which currently is now in a trailer, not very hurricane-proof, I might add, or how many water plants or reverse osmosis systems or high-efficiency membrane systems we have. None of it runs itself. And so we really have to do everything that we can. We are looking at such things as perhaps a hiring bonus, if necessary, for some hard-to-fill positions. I would like to make one comment about a partnership. So I think it's really important that ONWASA, as our own unit of government, has continued partnerships with others. Absent our partnership with the base, we would not have the ability to send wastewater from Swansboro to the base. We have been purchasing water to supplement our water sources after PFAS was discovered in close proximity to Dixon 10 and Dixon 11. So these partnerships are important. We have made contact with Onslow County government, Director Foster. Onslow County government has a magnificent vehicle maintenance facility that was built about 6 years ago, and it is staffed by a lot of people that know heavy equipment. And we have heavy equipment. So we are reaching out to Onslow County government to see if there might be a partnership opportunity for them to service some of our heavy equipment. We've been bidding that out and have been using a private company to do some of that work on site. There have been some changes in that company, and we would just like to investigate a partnership that might give us another option, and maybe an option that would be financially beneficial to both ONWASA and Onslow County. So we're running that through our finance office, and our finance office is working directly, or has reached out directly to the finance officer of Onslow County government right now. So those are a few things that we're working on. I would like to note that Mr. Moore made a comment about just a few of our highlighted projects. Those are some of the big ones that we're working on now, not by any means the extent of our CIP, and that is in no way representative of all the work that is done. Prior to the meeting, a few of the directors were talking, and I was talking to you about our aging infrastructure. So ONWASA has legacy water systems, legacy wastewater systems that came from other units of government, like Onslow County government. Some of those pipes have been in the ground a very long time. So on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, our crews are out repairing breaks, making sure that we have reliable water service with all of our customers. And when we are also designing systems, and private companies are seeking to build those systems and turn them over to us, we also try to make sure that those systems are designed for our future maintenance needs and for reliable water service to the customers that will eventually be ours. So we are really big on reliability whenever possible. And so I'd just like to mention that every week we're digging in the ground. Unfortunately, a lot of times we're digging in the ground in different places to repair a break in an aging line, to repair a break where a truck, such as a Ram truck, as you may have seen in a recent report, managed to shear off a fire hydrant like nobody's business. So things happen, and I'd like to commend Mr. Matthew Paget and all the field operations team, all those men that are out there every day fixing things. So they're really great. And lastly, Vice Chairman, Merry Christmas. We're entering the holiday season. Merry Christmas to all of you and to all of our customers. We appreciate all of them very much, and thank you for your business. Thank you.
Hudson. Board comments, starting in the corner, Mr. Warden.
Yes, yes, Ms. Riggs, thank you on behalf of the Board of Directors. I'm sure I speak for them in saying thank you for an outstanding report. It's not easy. It means that you worked hard all year, you and your staff. And then you have to, while you continue to do business, you have to address all of the items that the auditors are requesting. So you're having to do that. You're doubling up during that period of time. But great report, and kudos to you and your staff. So thank you. So.
Mr. Foster.
Just ditto to Director Warden there, and I just want to, people I've run into, I just want to reiterate the whole customer service persona that ONWASA has. The few folks I've run into in the last couple of weeks have just talked about the customer service that they've been receiving when they call in and they deal with whatever problems they're facing. They have just been adamant about how wonderful they've been treated. And that is something that needs to be commended, because during the pandemic and COVID and all that, people have become very unnerved. So the fact that you're still getting those responses and people are still taking care of people in these times, I think is tremendous, that it's customer service oriented and people are happy with what's going on when they call in. And at the same time, folks that are out there listening, lots of job opportunities at ONWASA, and a perk to the job is cool, refreshing, high-quality Onslow County water on a daily basis, unlimited in the offices of ONWASA. So with that, thanks for all the work that you do, and Merry Christmas, and looking forward to a Happy New Year.
Thank you, Mr. Foster. Ms. McDermott.
Just a couple things. I wanted to welcome Mr. Wenzel to the board. I think you're going to enjoy working with us all. I wanted to thank everybody, as you all have already done. I think that audit report was fantastic. The update on the capital projects was also wonderful. I know that is definitely not all of them, as you had mentioned, Mr. Hudson, that you all are working on. For staffing, I know you had mentioned possibly bonuses or some type of hiring incentive, but I don't know the level of certification, if there's a way we could be offering education to get somebody to that instead of a hiring bonus. because you may, I don't know. I don't know if it's a 4-year or a 2-year. I don't, you know what I'm saying? I don't know what it is for the different positions. But if there's a way to offer education to entice folks to want to come to ONWASA, I think that would be fantastic.
Yes, ma'am, we will pay to send them, we do now, we'll pay to send them to school for the state certifications
Okay.
if they're hired for a position, and that certification is a requirement of the job we have hired them for.
And I don't know that I read that in the, and maybe I missed it, I don't know that I read that in the job descriptions.
It may not be in the job description.
Yeah.
But
So we may
certainly-
be missing some applicants, is what I'm saying.
yes, ma'am. We'll look at that, and
Okay.
certainly, if they come fully qualified, that's better.
Sure.
But right now, we appreciate applicants.
Sure.
Yes, ma'am, thank you.
Ms. Turner?
Mr. Wenzel, glad you're on board. Looking forward to working with you. Ms. Tiffany, you've done a great job, as always. And so has your team. I thank you for that, and for Mr. Hudson. On the staffing part, I can surely relate to that. With over 2,000 employees, and a lot of ours are entry level, we go to NC Works every single week, and we do recruitment. It might be something that you might want to look into, just your physical appearance there on a weekly basis. Word of mouth gets you a lot of applicants coming in. You did talk about the bonuses, hiring bonuses. That has seemed to work for us. Another one might be referral bonuses for your employees who refer qualified people to you, as well as the education. I mean, anything is possible because you've got to get those applicants, and people just don't want to work. So I can surely feel your pain. And if there's anything I can do to help, just give me a holler, okay? And Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Thank you.
Mr. Wenzel?
It is good to be here tonight. I'm honored to be on this board. Many of you, about half of you I know and consider friends. The other half I consider celebrities because I've seen you on TV and the internet. But I just wanted to spend just a couple minutes here just to briefly introduce myself, especially to the board. 2 years and 2 months ago, I started seeing the local municipality campaign signs appear in Holly Ridge. And I was convicted that I was going to vote in an election, but really didn't know who the candidates were, nor did I know where their standings were. And so the Topsail Chamber of Commerce, they held this candidate forum, and I went to it, and I was able to listen to the candidate responses. One thing that convicted me was everyone who wasn't currently serving on the Holly Ridge Council, everyone was asked the same question: what issues are you currently facing that you can help make a change? And everyone who wasn't currently serving had what I thought was a bad answer. Was I really don't know what's happening, but whatever it is, I'll try my best. And so that convicted me. And I said, if I ever were to run for political office, I'm at least going to attend a few meetings, or at least watch them online and see what issues they had. Well, I started going to a couple of the meetings, and fate would have it that our mayor moved into a larger house and moved outside of corporate limits of Holly Ridge, and there was a vacancy. And as we all know, any municipality under 50,000 people, they don't hold a special election. The town council appoints someone. And I was asked by a couple of the council members, would I be willing? And I said I would. And fate would have it, I was chosen to be the mayor. And then a month or so ago, I was reelected for another 4 years. So I say all that to say this, that I am just a business person who happens to be mayor of Holly Ridge. I am not a politician, or if I am, I'm not a very good one. But what I do is, whenever I go after something, I'm all in. And I want to learn everything about it. And I want to give it my best shot at it. And I just want to make that I will be all in with the ONWASA board, not only for helping you guys, but also for the customers of ONWASA. And that's all the customers. Finally, I want to say to Vice Chairman Connor, you've done an excellent job of chairing this meeting tonight. And that's all the comments that I have. Merry Christmas.
Thank you, man. Thank you very much. Because, yeah, obviously I started out, you wouldn't think it. I've been here for a minute, but the nerves always get me. So, thank you guys. Thank you very much. Man, it's kind of bittersweet, you know, with Mr. Hines being gone, and this is going to be, you know, my last Christmas with Jeff sitting across from me, which I want to piggyback something Mr. Foster said anyway. Can we keep your voice? Can we keep your voice on our phone line so when the hurricanes come
Yes, please.
and we're out?
Yeah.
Because you got the sweetest voice, man, when I haven't taken a bath in 2 days.
Much, sir. I appreciate that.
It's the best.
So calming.
Yes.
It'll be okay.
But no, and staff, you guys, I mean, I always say it, you guys are awesome. You guys are rock stars. And just thank you for everything you do for us and for everything you do for the citizens of Onslow County. You know, nobody knows where it comes from. They just go to the tap, they turn the handle, and it comes out. And when it doesn't come out, they are not happy. And you guys make sure it's there every day. So thank you very much. And that's all I got. Merry Christmas. Maybe there's a motion on the table to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn?
And seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.